The idea of that position is that I would help victims stay connected through the process. So we know that sexual assault is an issue associated with trauma, is an issue associated with a lot of self-blame and self-doubt, and it's a very troublesome issue, I think, in general, and a lot of the victims we know don't report. We know that widely. It's a largely unreported phenomenon. And those who do report, a lot of times they disengage from the process for a plethora of reasons. Some can be fear or just maybe some uncomfortability with police or with the criminal justice system as a whole. Maybe they've had prior negative experiences, or maybe it's just feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes it can be transportation. Can they get down here? Whether they have a car and no gas, whether they don't have a bus stamp or a bus ticket. Maybe they don't have childcare to come down and provide a statement. And then also there's a huge factor of societal influence, right? So if they turned to mom or an aunt or a neighbor or a spouse or partner and said, this just happened to me, and if they're not believed, if they're questioned, well, why did you meet that person that you met on the internet? Why did you drink that much? Why this, why that, why this? That's now blaming them. And so they're gonna feel, oh my goodness, I did this wrong. Why did I do that? So that self-blame is already there even without the societal, the family influence. And a lot of times that self-blame and that doubt can almost be overwhelming. And a lot of times they can disengage from the process for something almost as small as that, which just seems really critical at that point. With the investigators, I've seen both with cold cases and with current cases, I'm able to consult with them. I'm able to explain, well, maybe why a victim isn't responding the way you think she normally would be responding. I can help explain maybe why there would be some memory issues or memory lapses in her statement, either from last week or from 5 years ago. And a lot of that is due to trauma, due to the memory processing and traumatic events. It looks really different than just daily memory processing in your day-to-day life. There's a societal narrative of what a sexual assault victim looks like. So it's usually a she, it's usually a female, it's usually someone who's crying and is upset and has scratches or tears or bruises or something. And the reality is that is not the standard sexual assault victim. It's just not. It is a gendered crime, so we do mainly see female survivors. But there, of course, are men. We know that there's usually not any physical harm. There's not bruises, there's not scrapes. There's usually not a lot of fighting back, because it's usually the suspect is someone you know, or the fear is implied. So if I have a gun held up to your head, you're going to comply rather than me having to show any physical force. So those just standard things are something we don't see that has to be explained. And then, of course, the behavior. So sometimes, or trauma impacts everyone a little bit differently. So sometimes that could mean a victim is sitting in a police station making a report and then giggling after saying a certain things. And that could come off really strange. That can come off of, why is she not taking this serious? Is this not real? But the reality is she may not have any idea how to respond to this right now, and giggling is a way for her to release some energy, release some of this high emotions, just to get it out. She may not be crying, she may be in shock. She may just be completely angry, but it may look like revenge or vengeful. And so just explaining some of those trauma responses, like putting that in context of trauma impacts everyone differently. So we can't say this is the right response, this is the wrong response. It's a response, it's a traumatic response, and that's okay, and it's something we're gonna have to work with, because that's the nature of sexual assault.